Airlines are making major changes, some smart, some sneaky, and some that honestly feel like they were designed by someone who's never actually flown economy. From new security rules to controversial passenger penalties, and pricing discrimination to straight up scams, there is a lot happening behind the scenes with travel these days. Knowing about a few of these could save you money, a couple might save your entire trip, and number 6 will probably make you a little bit angry. I'm David G, and today I'm breaking down the biggest travel changes you need to know right now. So let's get into it. To start, Southwest Airlines is rolling out one of the most controversial passenger policies in years. Starting in January 2026, if you visibly spill into the seat next to you, Southwest will require you to purchase a second seat upon booking. Not maybe, and not if the flight is full. It's becoming official Southwest policy, and the crew is supposed to enforce it. The old rule was that you could choose to buy an extra seat and then get a refund after the flight. Technically, that still kind of exists, but it doesn't apply anymore if the flight takes off completely full. If the flight takes off full, then there's no refund and you ended up paying the full price twice. This is happening at the same time as Southwest is replacing their open seating policy with assigned seating. Plus, just recently the airline added checked bag fees for the first time ever. A lot of loyal Southwest passengers are rethinking things. But Southwest isn't the only airline messing with how they do business right now. See, airlines have discovered a shiny new toy. AI-powered pricing, and they are using it on you. Airfares aren't always the same for everyone anymore. Now, the exact same ticket booked at the exact same time might cost a plumber in Ohio more than an electrician in California. Delta kicked off AI pricing this year through its partnership with a company called Fetcher. And now airlines around the world like Virgin Atlantic, WestJet, and Azul are partnering with Fetcher too to implement the same kind of AI pricing. That means prices might now change in real time while you're looking at airline tickets. They might be tracking your device type, hesitation time, or even zip code, all in seconds to decide how much extra you should be willing to pay. It's been called surveillance pricing, and although it's not completely widespread yet, it seems like it's only going to become more common. Luckily, beating AI pricing is really easy though. Always search in incognito mode and make sure you're using a VPN such as Surfshark. Double check prices on a few different devices if you can. Compare prices on a few different third-party websites such as Google Flights or Kayak, and never ever just book the first price you see on an airline's website or in their app. Some airlines, like American, have publicly criticized AI pricing for eroding trust. Well, that seems kinda obvious, but I wouldn't count on it stopping it long term. And if you think AI pricing sounds a little chaotic, wait till you see what Europe's got going on with border control these days. The European Union is rolling out their new entry-exit system, or EES for short. It's a biometric database for non-EU travelers, which means since October 2025, you'll now need fingerprints and a facial scan when you enter the EU. The idea is that all that data is stored centrally, so any EU country can check that you follow the rules when you're leaving the EU. But some airports such as Prague have already reported really long waits because self-service kiosks aren't working. A lot of major hubs, Brussels, Paris, Rome, and Madrid to name a few, have been using a mix of the new and old systems, which has led to delays and confusion. And not every airport or terminal in the EU is EES ready yet, but they're trying to have the rollout done by April 2026. For the time being, the big risk is if your exit scan doesn't register properly, it could look like you overstayed the amount of time you're allowed. That would be most likely to impact your next trip to Europe, and that's a headache you just don't want to have. So when traveling in Europe right now, I'd say arrive a little early, lines could be longer, try to check your airport status the day of departure, and be ready to give your fingerprints and a facial scan and make sure that you've got a biometric passport. Now, since we're on the topic of security procedures at airports, I've gotta say, right now airport security rules seem more inconsistent than they've ever been. In the US, the TSA is now letting you keep your shoes on, at least at certain checkpoints, but many travelers don't realize the rules have changed. And in my recent travels around the US, it seems like enforcement varies a little bit. Plus, during the government shutdown, I took a bunch of flights around the US, and TSA on the ground was very efficient. But their website, on the other hand, wasn't being kept up to date. So if you were looking up rule changes or just any current information, the official source might not have given you what you needed. But anyway, security rules aren't just changing in the US, this is happening worldwide. Much of Europe has been updating their liquid rules for carry-on baggage, but some checkpoints are still confiscating liquids that are over 100 milliliters. Plus, another big one to watch out for is that lithium-ion batteries are getting a lot of scrutiny around the world. If, for example, you're bringing a power bank on board pretty much anywhere in the world, expect extra screening. And some countries like China have even banned certain types of power banks. But with thousands of different rules at airports worldwide, the most important thing is to always double check them. Before flying, always just make sure you've taken a look at your airline's baggage policies, your airport's website, and the official government guidance. Even if one of those isn't up to date like we saw during the government shutdown, checking all three should ensure you know what to expect. But this one is one of the biggest global travel changes happening right now. Visa fees are absolutely skyrocketing, and it's not even just the US making travelers sweat. Okay, in the US, there is this new so-called visa integrity fee that's $250 US. It applies to almost every type of non-immigrant visa, so tourist visas, student visas, work visas, basically anything besides a green card. What that really means is that a visa that used to maybe cost, I don't know, $160 or $200 now costs like $450 or maybe $500. And if for your nationality all you need is an ESTA to visit the US, well, the price used to be $21 US and they just raised it to $40 US. On top of all that, there's also a pilot program that's requiring between $5,000 and $15,000 US in visa bonds for citizens of certain countries. Supposedly this is to prevent visa holders from overstaying when they're in the US, but depending on your passport, just getting permission to even visit the US is getting really expensive really fast. But like I was saying, this isn't only happening in the US, it's a global thing. The UK raised its ETA fee shortly after launching the program. In mainland Europe, a lot of Schengen visas have been going up in price too. Across Africa, a handful of countries have increased visa and border fees, with the country of Mali even matching the US's new visa bond policy with a $10,000 visa bond required for US visitors. And in Syria, a simple single entry visa for US citizens now costs $200. Basically, around the world, we're seeing that visas and other border fees are starting to be treated more and more by governments like a revenue stream. For long-term travelers or anybody trying to visit multiple countries in one trip, these costs can really blow up your budget fast. Often there's just no way around them, so factoring them into your travel budget is essential. This is the one I mentioned before, and honestly it's shocking just how fast it's happening. Let's start back in the United States again. Last year, the Department of Transport started the process for requiring airlines to pay you compensation when they mess up. Elections happened, different people became in charge, and well, they decided to completely kill that off. Gone. But this recent wave of anti-passenger behavior isn't just a US thing either. Canada has much stronger passenger protection rules than they have in the US. But guess what? Recently, airlines have tried lobbying to soften those rules. And yes, even Europe, home to some of the strongest passenger rights on the planet, is seeing pushback from airlines. In fact, recently the EU has agreed to increase flight delay times before passengers can get compensation. So less chances for you as a passenger to get paid when the airlines mess up. So what does this all mean for you? Airlines worldwide are leaning heavily into loopholes. Schedule adjustments, your flight is moved by a few hours and suddenly, magically, you're no longer entitled to compensation. Refunds quietly switching to vouchers by default, hoping you won't ask for cash. And all along the way, airlines seem to be inventing and reinventing new fees for anything and everything they can think of. But if you know what you're entitled to and reach out in a polite manner asking for it, then I find you can generally avoid getting ripped off by an airline. Passenger protections are definitely weakening at the moment, but increased fees are also on the rise too. And there might not be fees any more annoying than constantly increasing seat fees. I mean, paying a bunch of money to select a seat on an airplane genuinely annoys people. Basic economy tickets and budget airlines have been restricting seat selection or requiring massive fees for years now. Nobody really likes it, but we're all kind of used to that at least. Sometimes it's even worth paying, and sometimes having airline status or asking nicely can get you the seat you want. Oh yeah, and sometimes you might just get lucky and be allocated a great seat that would have cost you $150 otherwise. But we're not just talking about basic economy tickets or budget airlines. Full-service airlines are charging for seats that are often less desirable now. Last rows, toilet row seats, zero recline seats, limited legroom seats, and even just some seats that would usually be considered standard. A recent US report found that 5 major airlines made about $12.4 billion from seat fees over the course of 5 years. So basically, airlines are really cashing in on seat fees, and they want to take even more of your money. What's really out of hand though now is that some airlines have started to charge for seat selection in their business class cabins. A lot of Europe-based airlines like Air France, KLM, and Lufthansa have been doing this for a little while, but now it's branching out even further. Most recently, Qatar Airways decided to start charging to select a seat when booking a business class award ticket. I feel like that kind of takes the business part of business class out of the equation. But I guess airlines don't really care because, you know, a quick buck. But it's not all 100% bad news when it comes to airplane seats, even in economy. Quite a few airlines have actually been improving their economy classes lately. There's little stuff like Bluetooth connectivity for screens becoming more common on airlines like American and Lufthansa, and United Airlines got a pretty cool new function in their app called Connection Saver. It's a tool that can let your crew know to consider holding your connecting flight for a few minutes if you're close. And a few different airlines have been investing in better seats for their long-haul planes too. One that comes to mind is JAL's new Skywider seats, which are designed basically as they sound, with a slightly wider seat pitch. Of course, it doesn't hurt that on the same type of aircraft, most airlines have an extra seat in each row compared to JAL, so it's just a little more spacious. I actually had the chance to check out Japan Airlines economy class recently while traveling to Japan. If you want to see my Japan Airlines experience detailed in a future video, comment the word Japan down below. Now, full transparency, this one isn't the most common occurrence, but it has been happening more and more to the extent that airports have started to warn people about it. Some scammers have been stealing baggage tags from travelers to make fake lost or damaged baggage claims. There's been cases of baggage tags being quickly switched in busy airport terminals, but the easiest way for a scammer to get your bag tag is usually when you throw it away in an airport trash can or recycling bin. With someone else's bag tag in hand, sometimes a scammer can successfully make a claim for lost or damaged baggage and get a significant payout from the airline. Again, this is pretty rare, but it's real enough that some airports have issued warnings and it's been in the news. To protect yourself, just stay with your bag at all times before checking it in, double check the printed tag before it goes onto your suitcase, take a photo or video of your bag with the tag attached before it goes down the belt, and I feel like this should be kind of obvious, but don't throw away sensitive information at an airport or in any public space. I'd recommend using a paper shredder. But there's another massive scheme that's been exploding lately. This isn't clickbait or exaggeration, it's just one of the fastest growing problems in travel right now. Fake customer service numbers, websites, and social media accounts impersonating airlines are floating around all over the place. If you Google something like Wizz Air phone number or Delta change flight, there's a good chance fake phone numbers or even fake websites will show up. But say you actually call one of those fake numbers. Someone on the other end will try to impersonate an airline representative to trick you into giving them your confirmation number or other personal stuff. From there, they'll probably act like they're helping you book or manage flights. Then they'll charge you for whatever you think you're paying for and pocket that money. Recently, a number impersonating United Airlines charged someone around $17,000 this way, so it can be pretty detrimental. Fraudsters like that will often process credit card payments directly, and victims sometimes have disputed charges, but supposedly sometimes scammers have been able to exploit loopholes with payment processors and keep the money. So always be extremely careful to make sure that you're really talking to the airline you think you're talking to. But it's not even just airlines that are being impersonated. There are tons of fake government visa websites out there right now that will claim that you need something like a $50 or $100 mandatory transit visa or entry authorization. This generally for countries that don't actually require those things. They'll be just as happy to take your money too. So in short, if a fee looks or sounds weird and a site doesn't look quite right, it's probably fake. I mean, together, all these changes we talked about are forming a new reality when it comes to travel. I guess you could say there's new possibilities, but there's a lot of new dangers too. It makes staying informed and flexible take on a bit of a new meaning. But keep in mind what we've gone over in this video and you'll be set for your next trip. If you want to see how strict airlines really are, I've got dozens of flight reviews testing all of this out in real life. You might enjoy checking those out next. But as for this video, make sure to share it with fellow travelers, hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in.